Pro-life politics are really just pro-controlling women's bodies. Let's be real. You guys don't really care about babies that much. If you did, we would want to fund childcare. We would want to give them food. We took that away. You guys remember that?
We funded a lot of Somali childcare and Somali food. I don't know. It didn't work
Donald
out.
Trump cut SNAP benefits, Medicaid. He's cut ACA subsidies that just expired. I don't know how that's helping children. He's actually taking food out of children's mouths.
So I'm going to ask the audience a question. Name one.
Lauren Piretra opens with a classic left-wing hit. You conservatives only care about controlling women, not babies. She throws in the snap cut line like it's a mic drop. Adam Mockler sits there nodding like this is some profound revelation. Folks, this is the exact moment the liberal brain short circuits. They think if they scream controlling bodies loud enough, nobody will notice they're defending the intentional ending of a human life. Michael Knowles is about to take that argument, turn it inside out, and leave them looking like they just got caught lying to the entire room. Stick around. The humiliation is just getting started.
Pro-life politician that is riding for childcare.
That is what? For
riding for childcare. Ooh, I hear a lot of
Or
crickets.
how about this? One pro-life politician who fought against the cutting of SNAP benefits for not only children, but families across the country.
Yeah, I think a lot of us oppose SNAP benefits for the aforementioned Somalis and people who are on fraud. Like, for instance,
we're talking about children.
Okay,
one in 10 people in the state of Tennessee was apparently availing themselves of SNAP. We learned that during the shutdown.
We're not talking about people, though. We're talking about babies.
Well, we're just saying, when we're talking about SNAP, we're talking about
how many
people.
babies were fraudulenting their SNAP benefits?
Well, the babies don't apply. It's usually their parents, and some of them commit fraud.
So then how do the babies eat if they can't apply? How are they doing their fraudulent thing? 1 in 10 babies are doing this?
I guess my point is that SNAP is not really primarily about babies. And I think we're getting off the topic that you chose.
Which was, pro-life doesn't really care about babies. They care about controlling women's bodies. And you're telling me that babies shouldn't get SNAP benefits because 1 in 10 people have maybe fraudulented their things.
Yeah, I mean, just as a rule, like, babies cannot apply for SNAP benefits. They are not eligible for SNAP benefits.
And they shouldn't, because babies, we don't care about babies.
We all agree with that.
We don't care about babies in here.
I mean, I just want to narrow in on your point, because I want you to make the argument for it. The point, as I see it here, is pro-life politics functions as control over women's bodies, not about babies.
Correct.
And the first part I don't totally disagree with, in the sense that...
So I win.
Well, I mean, you make something of a point, in the sense that vaccine policy or seatbelt laws also function as control over people's bodies.
I disagree. I think vaccine laws function as a public safety requirement.
For public health.
Classification. This is my point.
Well, for the greater good of public health, but I think when it comes to abortion, it is just restricting women. And who's making the laws? It's disproportionately going to be men making the laws that women can't get access to healthcare.
All right, I'll tell you what. Let me just make my analogy, and you tell me why I'm wrong. The vaccine policy certainly functions to control people's bodies, especially if there's a mandate.
That's not the primary function.
Okay.
Wait for it. We'll get to it.
I'm going to give you a couple minutes. And then I'm going to...
Seatbelt laws function to control people's bodies.
No.
They do. You have to lock it in or you could get a ticket.
Are we really here to talk about seatbelt laws?
I agree with you, Adam.
Yeah.
That's not what they're for. That's not their chief objective. And it is the case that abortion laws, like not letting people have abortions, does control women's bodies to some degree.
I won.
But what it's for is saving babies. It's not about the control.
Okay, but what's the difference between a baby and a fetus? Have you ever spit in your hand?
No,
that's what a fetus looks like at like 6 weeks old. Yeah,
that's not what a fetus looks like.
Okay, you guys need to go back to science class, okay? Maybe we should fund that in Tennessee.
I have 3 kids. I've gotten ultrasounds at 8 weeks old. You don't do them so much at 6. They don't look like you spit in their hand. You can make out all their little parts. You can even figure out if they're boys or girls at 8 weeks.
No, you can't.
And you can't do that with your spit.
Can I ask you, when do you think life begins?
Well, by definition, at conception.
You think so? So how do you define life?
A human life, or just life generally?
No, life from a human. What qualities do you use to define life?
Life is described by various attributes. So growth, metabolism, organic matter, movement. And so we see these qualities and the potential for these qualities at the beginning. So, for instance...
When they're a fetus, they can...
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to cut you guys off.
Fetus just means offspring.
Why are we riding so hard for like a fictional fetus versus...
I don't care about fictional fetuses.
I let you finish. I'm going to finish now. A fictional fetus versus real life human babies and SNAP benefits and childcare and healthcare and taking care of the babies we actually have.
Yeah, so I guess my point, my very narrow point on abortion is I think you're partially right. Abortion laws do involve controlling women's bodies because we say you can't kill the kid.
Fetus.
What does fetus mean?
It's a fetus.
It means
it's a baby once it's alive.
It's a lot. Well,
by science, which you love.
So the word fetus just means offspring.
Continue.
So there's no distinction, right? There's no distinction between that and a baby, in as much as it's a human.
You had a point a second ago.
Yes. So the very narrow point on abortion that I'm making, and I'm open to all sorts of talk on welfare programs and all that's fine. I'm not some libertarian extremist. However, my only point is, it would seem to me that we should not kill innocent babies in the womb or out of the womb. That's my whole point.
Okay, yes. I'm not for killing babies outside of the womb. I'm for feeding them and providing the kids with access to healthcare.
So then you agree we shouldn't kill them, we should not have abortion, and we should have welfare later on.
Here's what I'll agree.
Okay, that's fine.
Here's what I'll agree on. You don't want an abortion, which you don't seem to be able to have the ability to have a baby yourself. You don't have to get one. Your partner, your wife, doesn't want an abortion. She doesn't have to get one. So therefore, choice. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, okay. So I think, for instance,
no.
Look, I'm not going to engage in an honor killing of my wife if she apostatizes from Islam, for instance. Now, I'm not going to do that. And look, if a Muslim immigrant to America, as many have done actually, wants to kill his wife in an honor killing because she has apostatized from Islam, that's his business, right? And it's not your business, and stop sticking your nose in it, right? Or no?
Okay.
I think that a lot of liberals...
Here, I don't know how we got from abortion care to
because you're saying
your
that
fixation with Muslims, but we got there pretty quickly.
No, you're
so
saying
I'm going to bring it back to children and babies. And what I'm saying,
I can explain to you the analogy if you like.
It's not relevant to this conversation, and I don't need an explanation.
I think it is.
No, it's not, because you guys are like yeehaw for like not feeding babies. But you want to control women's bodies. Why is that? Anyone want to come to the little mic?
I have personally fed 3 babies in my life. All right, that's not
great.
Bad. Yeah.
So,
and I only have 5 kids. So no, I'm kidding. I only have 2 kids.
So listen, you don't want an abortion? Don't get one.
Lauren tries the fetus looks like spit in your hand at 6 weeks line, and Knowles just looks at her like she's reciting a TikTok medical degree. He has 3 kids. He's seen the ultrasounds. He calmly explains, you can already make out the parts at 8 weeks. Lauren's response? Instant science denial. Then she pivots to SNAP and childcare like it's a gotcha. Knowles doesn't take the bait. He narrows it right back. The only question is whether we should kill the innocent human being in the womb. Everything else is a distraction. Watch her face when he brings up the honor-killing analogy. She acts like he just changed the subject, but he didn't. He showed the exact same logic she uses. It's none of your business what I do with this life. Apply that consistently and you get chaos. Adam tries the moderate Democrat soft shoe. Safe, legal, and rare. Lauren won't even grant that. She doesn't care if abortions go up or down. Bodily autonomy is the only God in the room. Knowles keeps pressing the simple point. If you don't want an abortion, don't get one. But the second you claim the right to end another human life, the rest of us get a say. That's not controlling women. That's protecting the one who can't speak yet. The left cannot handle that framing because it forces them to admit what they're actually defending.
But okay, you don't want to murder your wife. Don't murder your wife. But surely you would outlaw murder as a matter of the law.
Is my wife, which I don't have, in my fetus?
Your wife, I don't think, is in your fetus.
Correct. So, therefore, I'm right again.
No, I think the argument a lot of liberals would make is that killing a person is not the same as aborting a baby because the baby is not conscious life yet. So that's
a good point.
The main argument that usually happens here is trying to define when life begins, and a lot of conservatives say at conception, but there are studies showing that consciousness starts at about 20 to 24 weeks.
So, hold on. Adam makes a great point. I just want to push it one more so you can finish your argument. If your argument then would seem to be that being killed or not being killed, having those legal protections, is predicated on consciousness. So my question is, do you have the right to go into a hospital ward and kill somebody who's in a coma?
It's based on... No, I don't think so.
There you go. Yeah. All right, we agree. Now, we have questions from the audience.
How's it going, Michael? Big fan.
I've seen that guy before.
Yeah, big fan, Michael.
Don't be fooled. He looks like a Republican, but
exactly.
Don't be fooled.
I'm just code switching. If you want to donate me money, I promise I'll put it towards all your charitable policies. Anyway, I have a question for you, Michael, and it's specifically regarding the topic of abortion. And if you let me expand upon this line of questioning, a couple questions. First one, do you think that abortion is morally comparable to something like the Holocaust, something that, conservatives talk about a lot? Would you agree with that premise that abortion, in the case of Charlie Kirk, he said it was 8 times worse than the Holocaust because of the death or the amount of abortion that have occurred since Roe was legalized?
I would say...
Do you say so?
Abortion is the killing of innocent human life intentionally. And the Holocaust, as all genocides, entails the killing of innocent human life. Sure. And so in that way, yes, they're comparable.
Okay, so you think they're comparable. So do you think that, for example, political violence would be justified to stop the Holocaust? Let me give you an example right here. Let's say that I exist in Nazi Germany at the time, and I see that a Nazi is going to the concentration camp, and he is going to kill or put in the Zyklon B to gas a group of Jews. I think that he would be justified, or I would be justified rather, in killing that Nazi officer on his way to work. So if you think that abortion is morally equivalent to the Holocaust, how do you feel about violence against abortion doctors? Is there anything actually wrong with that? Because these people are morally equivalent in your eyes to Nazis.
So it's a very good question. I think that a political revolution under certain circumstances could be justified. St. Thomas Aquinas explains this very well in the Summa Theologiae de Regno. However, I don't think that vigilante violence is justifiable in almost any case, not because of the justification of the actions that are at discussion, be it the Holocaust or mass abortion, 60 million babies being killed, but because of the downstream political effects that come from that, and because there is such a thing as a civil authority. So in the extreme case where revolution would be justified, there would still have to be order to be undertaken so that greater evils would not abound from an act that could be justified.
I understand that. But do you think that when the Holocaust happened, do you think that it would have been wrong for someone to kill a Nazi officer on his way to the concentration camp to gas a bunch of Jews? Would it have been wrong or not?
Well, in the case of the Holocaust, we're speaking specifically of war conditions. So you're in the midst of a massive war, both within Germany and throughout all of the world.
Engage with the question. If it in fact was the case, yes, it would be justified. My point here is rather that I don't really think that you think abortion is morally equivalent to the Holocaust, or you're not believing that it would be justified for people to kill abortion doctors.
I'm saying that different rules apply during times of war than during times of peace.
So if the president suddenly declared it was a time of war against women who get abortions, then suddenly it's justified for people to go out and kill.
War against women.
Okay, fine, Michael. Very good. Against abortion, however you want to call it.
You could outlaw
then it would be
abortion.
justified?
That wouldn't be a war. A war is when belligerent parties fight each other for territory and for political control.
I think that Michael's evading the question because his line of reasoning leads to the conclusion that it is actually morally permissible to commit political violence.
No,
it seems like he's against that.
In most circumstances, I don't think it is.
In most circumstances. So this is not comparable to the Holocaust.
It is comparable to the Holocaust.
It's comparable.
It is comparable. As I mentioned to you, in the respect of both of these things entailing the killing of innocent human life, it is comparable. In respect to the fact that one is in a polity during a time of peace and one is during a time of war, they're not comparable.
It's just not very
So
optical.
they're in different respects, you would address them differently.
Okay.
Now the audience member drops the Holocaust comparison. Classic left trap. If abortion is like the Holocaust, then why aren't you out shooting abortion doctors? Watch Knowles handle it like a man who's actually read Aquinas instead of Twitter threads. He grants the moral parallel on the killing of innocent life, then draws the bright line. Vigilante violence in peacetime creates greater evils. Different rules apply in war. The liberals act like they've cornered him. They haven't. They've just revealed they think the only way to be consistent is to endorse murder. This is the pattern all night. Lauren and Adam keep trying to psychoanalyze motives. You just want to control women because they can't win on the actual question of when life begins. Knowles keeps bringing it back to biology, definition, and consistency. And every time they dodge, the room sees it. That's why this clip works. One calm conservative refusing to let two liberals redefine a baby as a clump of inconvenience. The dopamine isn't in the yelling. It's in watching the left's favorite slogan get methodically taken apart while they squirm.